Welcome to the Excel interface. My name is Alwyn. To go to the interface of Microsoft Excel. Terminologies are extremely important because whenever we're trying to gain assistance and we use various reference formats, they always utilize terminologies to guide us to a feature or guide us to a command. So let's break this down. Let's break the interface down from top to bottom. If I look at the top left-hand side of my screen, I have a toolbar. This toolbar is known as your quick access toolbar. This quick access toolbar is for commands that you use often, you use frequently. You can add onto that quick access toolbar. By default, you've got the save, undo, and repeat command buttons. These buttons are seen as the buttons that are most frequently used when working with the application. So this is known as your quick access toolbar. Below the quick access toolbar, we have various tabs: File, Home, Insert, Page Layout, Formulas, Data, Review, View. These tabs serve as menus, each menu opening up what Excel has to offer. Let's go through each tab. Starting with File. As soon as we click on File, it opens up what we call the Backstage View. The Backstage View. The Backstage View is basically like going to a theater where we get to see the production in front, but what happens in the backstage to make the production what it is. So let's go backstage. And this is where we get to create something new, open a new file, save information, print, share, export. So this view is known as your backstage view. The next tab is Home. But before we go into the Home tab, all the tabs from Home moving forward has something very different compared to what the File tab opened. Each of these a ribbon. This ribbon is a set menu of commands that we utilize based on what that ribbon is about. What I want to do is I want to break this down, each ribbon at a time, giving a brief description of what that ribbon represents. Starting with the first one, Home. The Home tab opens the Home ribbon. Whenever you're in the Home ribbon, I want you to think of it in this sense. Home is where the heart is. Home is where I spend most of my time. Home is where I will always go back to. Why? If there's a ribbon you should perfect, is this ribbon. This is the ribbon you will always come back to. This is the ribbon you spend most of your time in. I'm sure you've moved house before, and knowing moving house actually requires you to do a few things on the day that you move in to make sure that everything is in the way that you want it to be. So people decide, where do I want my curtains to be? Do I unpack the kitchen or do I unpack the bedroom first? What are you doing? What are you doing when you are working with these various aspects when you move in? First of all, we may even start cleaning. Why? Because you don't want to be living in somebody else's dirt that lived there before. Oh, you may even paint. Why? Because sometimes walls are damaged, sometimes walls are actually not so nice as you'd actually want it moving in. You may unpack, move things around. And that's what this Home ribbon is actually about. It is personalizing, customizing your spreadsheet for how you want to represent it. As you would do it in your home, you would personalize, customize your space for you to live in. And that's what this Home ribbon is about. The next tab that opens up the next ribbon is Insert. Whenever you're in the Insert ribbon, I want you to think of it in this sense. I want to insert an object. I want to insert an object. Okay, pause. What's an object? Let's say I decided to buy a table for my house, or even have a picture on the wall. These are various objects that I'm putting in or inserting in to my house. And if you look at this ribbon, that is what this ribbon is actually about. Starting on the far left hand side where you got pivot table, tables, we're talking about pictures. This is where we actually work with charts. We're inserting these objects, spark lines, where we are inserting symbols. So whenever you're trying to insert something new, it is in the insert ribbon. Page layout. Whenever you're in the page layout tab that opens up the page layout ribbon, I want you to think of it in this sense. I want to set my page for printing. I want to set my page for printing. Why? Before you print, you should actually be in this ribbon. Because this is the ribbon we set up our pages before we actually print it. How? This is where we're setting our margins, our page orientation, our paper size, to print our titles on every page, to print the grid lines. So we're setting our pages for printing. Next tab is the Formulas tab that opens up the Formulas ribbon. Now, if you know this, when you create a calculation in Excel, a basic calculation, you already start to rule Excel. You start to rule Excel. And that's what this ribbon is about. On the far left hand side, we see various calculations in little sections. So your financial calculations, logical calculations, text, date and time, lookup and reference. If you look towards the right hand side is where we get to fix our calculations by looking at show formulas to view all the formulas that we use, our calculations. So that's what this ribbon is about, working with our formulas, our calculations within Microsoft Excel. The next tab that opens up the next ribbon is our Data tab. I love this ribbon. It's one of my favorite ribbons because this really tells us what Excel is actually used for. A lot of people get this wrong. They think Excel is a dumping ground. We dump information. But in actual fact, Excel was never meant for that. Dumping is actually for a database. For example, Microsoft Access. Excel was never meant for that. Excel is for the analysis of information. So we get all this data. What do we do with this data? We want to analyze that data. And that's what this ribbon is really about. On the far left hand side is how to bring that data into Excel. So we're seeing that we can bring it from Microsoft Access, from the internet, from text. But when we get all this data, what do we want to do with this data? We'd like to sort, filter the information. We may even utilize data validation, consolidate information from different places into one. Utilize what if analysis, forecast the sheet, subtotaling. So we're analyzing data to make it more meaningful. And that is why I love this ribbon tab. The next tab is Review. The Review tab. Whenever you are in the Review tab, I want you to think of it in this sense. I want to double check myself or double check someone else. Double check myself or double check somebody else. How are you doing this? This is spelling, grammar. This is where we inserting comments. Check with production. Are these figures correct? Contact client in regards to this. Change the formatting here. We're inserting comments. This is also where you get to password protect your worksheets, password protect your workbooks. The Review tab. The next tab is View. View. Your View tab opens up the View ribbon. Whenever you're in this ribbon, I want you to think of it in this sense. I want to view my spreadsheet on my screen. I want to view the spreadsheet on my screen to analyze it in different ways. And this is why you've got your various views, your normal view, your page break preview, your page layout view. In the middle, you got your zooming in and zooming out. On the right hand side of this ribbon, this is where you get to view the same workbook more than once to analyze different sheets, or arrange different workbooks to analyze different workbooks together. Freeze Paint splits the same worksheet as well, that we can then analyze. So how do we want to view it on my screen to analyze it differently to get the data or information that we want? Which is the ribbon we always go back to. If you said home, awesome. Now if we look at this home ribbon, it is divided into different sections. We actually don't call these sections, we call it groups. Each group has its own little name, but these groups have commands related to that specific group. If you look towards the bottom of the groups, clipboard, if you can see on the bottom, it says clipboard, the clipboard group. And this is actually quite nice for navigation, because if you are looking at your various references, they may say go to your home tab to open your home ribbon. In your home ribbon, you will find cut in the clipboard group. In the home ribbon, you will find bold, B for bold, in the font group. You will find merge and center, wrap text, in your alignment group. The number group is where you do formatting of cells, formatting of your actual figures. In the home ribbon, in the styles group is where you're going to get conditional formatting according to a condition or criteria. In the home ribbon, in the cells group is where you get to insert, delete rows and columns and format your rows and columns. In your editing group is where you do AutoSum and a shortcut for sort and filter. So looking at these various groups, that helps to then navigate within these groups. Groups are not the only thing that makes up a ribbon. You're going to see we also have a little arrows at the end of some of the groups, and these are known as launchers. Launchers just opens extra options for us. They open extra options for us to utilize, and that is what a launcher is. Not all groups you will see that actually has an actual launcher. Just a few more terms that I want you to know before we end the session. On the far left hand side where you see A1, this is what we call our name box. Our name box just is a way to refer to a cell, but it's also where we use to rename a cell or rename a range of cells. To the right of this, we've got buttons that allows us to accept or reject whatever we type in a cell, as well as our insert function button to insert built-in formulas or built-in calculations. One of the most important sections is the next one, which is your formula bar. Formula bar. The formula bar allows you to see the actual calculation that went to give you the end result that gave you the value. Formula bar. If we look below to the bottom left, we have a sheet tab. This sheet tab is your worksheet that makes up the workbook. If we need more sheets, next to that towards the right hand side, you're going to see we have a plus. This plus, by clicking on it, will actually insert a new sheet for us. On the bottom right hand corner, we have our different views. Remember our three main views: your normal view, page break preview, and page layout view. Our views. And lastly, we have our zoom to increase and decrease our actual screen and data to view it better. Thank you for your time. I hope you enjoyed this session, and I hope you learned a bit more about the terminologies and the use of the terminologies in Microsoft Excel. Hope to see you soon. Enjoy. Have a fantastic day.